Hey, Matt.
JP, what's new?
I'm excited to continue our story here.
It's a saga.
It is a saga, and not that I want to do a Quentin Tarantino and jump to the end. I am excited. You got to fix your hair. You got one of these.
Oh,
You got a
I got a little.
something about Mary going on there. Yeah, I'm not going to jump to the end here, but I had a really good call with a potential investor for this particular project, and we're looking at seven-figure sum investment
Yeah,
potentially. So
yeah,
that's fun. I've got some homework to do as a result of that, but yeah, I want to continue the conversation going. I think we had a great recap over the last couple of days here, and I want to keep the party going here.
absolutely. Let's jump right into it.
Keep the party
So,
going here. So I
yeah,
think
where did we leave off at?
we
What was
left off on final decision. I think that we lost. We lost our
mhm,
deal, and well, let's fast forward a couple of months. A couple months later, you and I continue to go on to other things or
mhm.
other projects, I guess as a result of going through this, it gave us some more confidence because we actually made it to best and final on I think at least two or three other properties, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Within
There
within
was a
two more
couple of them.
months, right?
Yep, yep. Yeah,
And
there's a couple of them.
you kept it in, you kept that old project in the back of your mind or your pocket, and I think you continually reached back out to the broker and just checked in. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
Any change?
that was one of the things that we absolutely learned in this process. Again, we were so close. We knew that we were very, very close. So, um, whenever you're in a situation like that, always keep reaching back out. Give it maybe a month or so, after you lose the project. But around that time is when things, the shit starts hitting the fan at that point.
Mhm.
If things are going wrong, it's gonna start showing. So the first couple of times when I reached out to the broker, he said, yeah, no, everything's good so far. Everything's, on the up and up. And, again, I reached out, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 times over the course of the month and a half, 2 months, and then lo and behold, COVID happened. Pesky little COVID.
Yeah,
So,
and it's funny. Like little tips like that is really helps people understand how to start real estate investing. And
mhm,
that's really important. But yeah, we went through the black swan event known as COVID, and I think we were benefiting from that in the sense that deals there was less competition for deals for us.
mhm,
When we're competing in markets like Atlanta, where it is crazy, crazy, crazy competitive, a lot of groups had kind of stepped on the sidelines and waited to see what happened. So we were happy to keep going in. And I think what helped us is even though you put an offer in, it helps you help get credibility and you still build rapport every time you go through the process, even if you don't win, of
mhm.
writing the LOI, putting the offer in, doing the interview call with the seller. It builds trust and credibility with the broker, and it's worthwhile even if you don't win. So plus, you can't expect to win if you don't play, right? You can't just say,
Exactly.
well, I'll put offers in when I know I can win. That's just silliness. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
that's great advice.
so yeah. So you, I think I remember you got a call or an email. Like was it a cryptic email?
Yeah, it was strange. The broker, I think, I don't remember exactly how he phrased it, but it was a very, very odd message. Something he was referring back to something that we had written in our questionnaire. So I think we kind of skipped over that. So after when you win a project, or when you make it to best and final, the seller also uh, gives you this questionnaire that you have to fill out. So a lot of it is, again, where are you getting your debt, all the same type of things that the interview asks. But
Right.
he was referring back to something that we had written in that questionnaire, and I'm like, again, this just kind of came out of nowhere, came out of the blue, and so reached back out to him and said, hey, do you want to talk about something? I don't know where this is coming from. And so the next day, this was later at night, this is
Yeah.
probably 9 o'clock at night that I got in this message.
Yeah.
That next morning we talked, and lo and behold, the project fell out with COVID. The people who were awarded the contract, their financing fell through and they basically backed out of the deal. So uh, fortunately, that left us in a promising position.
That's right.
So,
That's right. So we eagerly jumped on the opportunity to negotiate a contract. We work with our advisor Howard, who is fantastic. We have a saying, like Howard's kind of always right. In the beginning, we kind of questioned some of his judgment, and we'll get into Howard later on, but that's a whole story in itself. But Howard's a great advisor. He's an older gentleman, a lot of life experience, and he's been doing this for a long, long time. So we worked with Howard behind the scenes and negotiated an offer. And the offer was about $700,000 to $800,000 less than our offer price back when we first made our best and final offer. So we were getting the COVID discount, as the kids say today. And there was a little touch and go, and I think it took a while, right? I think it took like almost a week and a half to get this done.
Yeah.
It drew out for a while, but
Yep.
we came to an agreement and we got it under contract. And essentially we built in for ourselves a $100,000 earnest money deposit that would go hard, or meaning non-refundable day one at execution of PSA. And we felt that given that we were a relatively newer group, we needed to put something skin in the game, as it's a really irritating phrase, to show our level of commitment and seriousness. And then we would put another 60 grand after we finished our due diligence period, which would be about 30 days later. And then we also built in 2, although I remember it was 3, and I think I knocked it down to 2, right, Matt?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, we put a two extensions of 15 days for $50K each. And that's what we agreed to, and that's what we got under contract, and that was it. So those are our hard money elements and terms. And by the way, some deals, not all deals require hard money or non-refundable earnest money deposit. It really depends on how competitive the market is, how competitive the deal is. And it kind of just comes down to having that competitive edge. We're noticing that in these times of post Black Swan event, a lot of sellers aren't necessarily expecting non-refundable deposits, but to the same degree, if you're a group like us where you're ambitious and it's critical to your success to get deals done, it could be the differentiating effect.
Yeah.
And
a deal is better than no deal, is Howard
a deal
always says.
is better than no deal. And what what we're finding is we've got a lot of opportunities here, and it can become challenging to have so much money in the bank to be able to start doling out for earnest money deposits. And that's where kind of reaching out in your network and trying to build relationships with partners that can provide that liquidity in exchange for maybe some equity in the deal is a way of kind of solving that. So that's really it. Those are hard money. Those are our terms. And then, fortunately, we were in a position because we had already gotten on the path with our buddy Austin, our lender. The debt was kind of already lined up. They had already written the deal. And I think, if I remember correctly, I believe the previous buyer was going down the path potentially with that loan lender as well. And so it had already made it through committee. So really, as a result of COVID and the previous buyer before us, he had done a lot of the process to a degree for us. So it helped shortcut the process, and we knew that we had a good chance at getting a deal done with our lender that we picked. Which leads us into another aspect of debt itself, right? Matt, so you always want to make sure you're getting the best terms.
Yeah.
And in this deal, we actually worked out an arrangement where we would work with Brian, the loan broker. So we had 2 sides in the loan. We had the originator, which was Austin and his company. And then we had Brian with his group. They kind of broker loans. And Brian was very instrumental in helping us have the deal come back to us. I think he was whispering in the ear of the sales broker, "Hey, those Matt and JP guys were cool dudes. Let's
At least that's what we think he's saying.
Yeah. Let's see if we can help get the deal, in their way. Thanks, sweetie." So we, Brian advised us, "Hey, these terms that you're getting from your original lender, they're good, but maybe let's just see what's out there. There's no harm in checking it out." Okay, fine. And now, in all fairness, we're going through this crazy Black Swan event, which is causing a lot of lenders to kind of freeze up. It's causing a lot of bridge lenders, and let's actually explain what bridge is. So this deal it's not even unique. It's one of the deals. Like, deals fall into one of 2 categories. They're either stabilized or unstabilized. Stabilized really just refers to the level of occupancy of the property, and the metric they use is 90%. Roughly, is the occupancy 90% or above? If it is, it's stabilized. and you can apply for what's called agency debt. That might be Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan with really good terms and good amortization and all that fun stuff. If it's unstabilized, if it's less than 90%, then you would try to apply for what's called a bridge loan. And the term bridge really implies it's like a stepping stone to get you from where you currently are to bridge you to longer term stabilized agency debt. That's the thing here. So this property, the seller, when we remember back in January, I think, what was the occupancy? It was in the 90s, right?
Yeah, it was in the 90s, like 92, 93, something
right?
like that.
So January, they're cruising along, they're getting ready to sell, they're at that stabilized number, and then they got under contract, and then the occupancy started dipping, and they got it down to, I think when we got under contract, it was at 82.
Yeah, I think that's
81,
right.
82, something like that. Thanks. So that kind of forced us to have to go find a bridge loan. Now, the bridge loan market at this time, this was back in, where are we? May?
This is probably, April, May.
April, May?
Something like that, yeah.
Had really, really dried up. And it was almost like overnight where we could have, if this was like right before this event, we could have gotten loan terms that were like 80, 85%. And we didn't get that. We got much lower. And I don't even know, I think the terms of our sheet don't allow us to mention the terms, but they were lower than that. So we'll leave that as it is. So Brian encourages, hey, let's see what else is out there. He's like, I think you can get better options. And so we did. And I think he said he showed it to, was it 40?
He said that he shopped it around to quite a few different groups.
40?
And yeah.
So, and we would get all sorts of responses back. It was either, uncomfortable with the sponsors. Sponsors would be Matt and I, uncomfortable with us. We're seen as too new, even though we've already got properties. They're performing really well. It's a funny system. It's a funny game of, it's like unit count is everything. So if you are doubling your unit count, suddenly that becomes like mission impossible. Like it's easier to put men on the moon than it is for you to take on a property with double the unit count, which, by the way, have people that are on site running the property.
Yeah. And when you think about the absurdity of that, obviously we are at this point, we have about 250 units or so. Yeah. And so obviously we've had to double our unit counts many times over, and it doesn't.
I guess as long as you do it before less than double, like 49, that it is okay. But whatever. So we this is kind of par for the course for us during this journey, is just bumping up against, we'll call it like institutional or industry isms.
Yeah.
Right. I can't go beyond this thinking. And the case in point is like doubling your unit count, which is insanity. But whatever, that's the challenge we have. And part of overcoming that is we would need to partner with someone or a group that has more units than we do. Ideally, more than the unit count that we are acquiring. Because you can't double it. And so we would run into a variety of these things. And basically how it all distilled back to was the lender knew us, knew Matt and myself. They were comfortable with the partners that we had brought on. We brought on a partner to help us with experience. We brought on another partner to help us with liquidity, net worth. We should talk about that, I think, next. And they were comfortable with us as a group and lending us money. That's at the end of the day what our key to success was getting the debt. And we signed the term sheet and off we went. Yes.
And interestingly enough, shortly after we signed the agreement, we were actually, I remember I was walking along with the inspectors who were doing the due diligence, which, by the way, we also inspect 100% of the units. So the inspectors quite literally walked through every single unit, took pictures of everything. So we know pretty well the state of all of these units. But when I was walking around with those inspectors, I got a call from the broker and said, hey, I just need to throw this out to you. I think I already know what the answer is, but just wanted to present it to you. There was, and again, this was like a couple of days, maybe a week after we had gotten under contract. He said that there is another offer that came in quite literally right after we signed. Actually, maybe that's what it was it was like a day or two after we signed the PSA, another offer came in that was $100,000 more than what we had offered. So we just squeaked that one out. And he said, the guy's asking whether or not you'd be willing to essentially flip the contract to him for a couple $100,000. So, we said no, but it just goes to show you that, had we not signed the PSA, had the timing not been just right, we still didn't necessarily have a contract at that point. They could have gone and, this other group could have come in and snuck it away from us in that time when we were basically negotiating that PSA. So we just inched in there just by the hair of our necks,
our
chins. Yes. We got a lot of those.
We do.
But yeah, so it just goes to show you have to be on top of things and be in a position where you're able to move as quickly as you possibly can, because you never know what might be right around the corner. So we dodged a bullet that time.
And that's one I want to touch on that point, and then we'll wrap up this call for today. Is this idea of hustling. And, I know a lot of people that are new to real estate investing, or they want to learn how to start real estate investing. You've got to, if you're not fortunate enough to be able to quit your job and just start, know that your finances are taken care of and you can actually start doing this full time. Anyone with a full-time job trying to do this in parallel, it's very, very difficult. Matt, you're fortunate that you are an entrepreneur, you own your own business, and you've got a lot of systems in place. And one day we'll talk about your systems and how you kind of help give you more space and time so that you can go play real estate mogul, right? Because I think that's really, exactly. And I'll tell you what, that for me, that made you attractive as a potential partner.
Thanks, JP.
When we were in our courting days, right? And so what I'm getting at here is, like, if you want to be successful and you want to take down bigger deals, you do need to have a sense of hustle, and you need to be able to prioritize and be able to drop things that are in your way. So that whether that's, I don't want to say family, but sometimes family obligations, right? You need to have a partner that's understanding of that. And if you have another job, you've got to be able to have some flexibility where you can drop what you're doing and go after whatever it is, fix whatever fire comes in. Would you agree?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And even taking that another step further, when you're getting involved in this, you want to make sure that you start building out your team as quickly as you can. You had a great relationship with an attorney already from some of your previous deals before we started doing things together. So he's been great, where we can flip things over to him and he starts working on it right away. So building out your team is imperative. Finding partners, finding people that you can trust, and know that they're going to be able to pick up when you're not able to be there. Absolutely, very, very important.
Yeah, and I'll give one tip about our attorney. What I did early on, I think, helped a lot. And then the next call, we'll talk about our equity partners and the team we put together to help us take this deal down, because that's where more interesting drama came into play. But early on, when I first got started, I think I started reaching out to someone to introduce me to an attorney. And at this time, I was in New Jersey, and I was looking to invest in Atlanta. And so I had reached out to someone to make an introduction to a local attorney in Atlanta, because I figured if I'm going to be working remotely from New Jersey, buying property in Atlanta, I should have local counsel in the city or the state in which I'm looking to invest, right? And from that one introduction, I asked for multiple ones. So when I got in touch with Brett, our attorney, I said, "Hey, do you have an insurance guy that you like working with? What's his name?" And coincidentally, his name is Brent. And Matt always has a hard time between Brett and Brent.
It's terrible. Brett, we got like 4 mics that we work with too. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, actually, on my, I think I have 20. I would count it as 25 or so mics on my contacts on my phone. But that's a tip for you. So, start with your first contact in the city or state that you want to invest in, and ask them for references. Hey, who do you like working with on insurance side? Who do you like working on the accounting side? Who do you like working on the cost segregation side? And because that warm introduction is going to be more well received than you picking up the phone and saying, "Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm looking to invest in your state. Do you want to talk?" It'll work, but you're better off doing what I just said you do. It doesn't really take that much more effort, and people want to help out. They want to make those introductions. So do that. Anything else that you've taken from this call, do that.
Just do that.
All right. So Matt, this was fun, reliving
Absolutely.
some painful past. Let's connect next time, and we'll talk about the help that we brought in,
Hmm.
and I guess maybe how we bumbled that up.
Hmm.
Probably,
Absolutely.
everything's always our fault. That's the beauty about being an entrepreneur. You have to be able to take responsibility,
Yep.
and
Yep.
ultimately, the buck stops somewhere. It's not going to
Hmm.
stop over there. It's going to stop between you and I.
Yep.
Well,
Absolutely.
more on you, but less on
It
me.
always is. I'll blame it on Matt. It's all Matt's fault.
All right. Well, this has been fun, and thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate it, and hopefully that you got some good nuggets out of this one. We're looking forward to doing more of these.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.